Hello everyone, my name is Umer from Defensiq. Welcome to Defensiq Security Blue Team Associate Program or DSBA in short. We'll be covering topics from how the Security Operations Center works, what kind of environment that it has, and what kind of tools that it must has to run 24/7. And what kind of different roles that are important for Security Operations Center or SOC in short. In the first session also we'll be talking about what daily life or what day-to-day tasks that it has in order to fulfill their job as a Security Operations Center analyst or as a Security Operations Center associate. In the second session, we'll be speaking about what kind of frameworks or what kind of fundamentals that we use in order to understand a threat map. Also, there are many attackers that are exploiting the system with different techniques. So the rules that we have to create or implement has to be mapped to a framework. It can be MITRE or can be other framework. Moving on, we also need to understand how the network works. And so in order to understand one alert, you have to understand how that one alert occurred in our environment. In order to understand why such ports are being hit by different threats or being hit by different attacks, you need to understand the network itself. So in this program, we are covering the network fundamentals specifically for blue teams and what kind of knowledge that they have to understand, they have to know. So it can be from TCP IP, it can be from ports and the protocols that are common to the network. Also, how a normal traffic is analyzed versus how a suspicious traffic is analyzed in the operations center. Also, we will see what kind of packets that we receive or that we analyze during our day-to-day tasks. Moving on to the session number 4, we are speaking about how IDS, intrusion detection system, works and what are the modern intrusion detection systems are. What is intrusion prevention system and why we have intrusion prevention system and why we must have intrusion prevention system rather than only having intrusion detection system. What kind of anomalies that our IDS or IPS can stop the attack. Moving on to the session number 5, we'll be speaking about this SIEM. The SIEM is very important in Security Operations Center. It's Security Information and Event Management tool that is gathering all the events from each and every device in the network to one place. That is the simplest definition of a SIEM. There are many different companies that offer SIEM. What you have to do in order to respond to such attacks or such logs that are being shown to you on the dashboard. In session number 6, we'll be speaking about how to write different queries in order to create rules and what kind of alerts that we need to create in order to understand or detect the behavior-based anomalies. So moving on to session number 7, endpoint security and EDR fundamentals. We will learn about endpoint detection and response tools, where and what to look on when we are analyzing an event, what kind of processes, what kind of files, registry and changes or task schedules that can be analyzed through. We'll also be checking about how the data is collected and why do we need all the data from different environments. Okay. So session number 7 is going to be about endpoint security or EDR, XDR. EDR and XDR is very important tool in the Security Operations Center. We'll also learn what happens on one server, on one laptop. What kind of processes, files or registry changes that we need to look into and what data they collect, the EDR collects and how the analyzers analyze the data to understand what's happening or to understand if there is any indicator of compromises or indicator of attacks are occurring. Okay. Moving on to session number 8, we have a threat hunting methodology. Threat hunting is very important. There are specific teams that are doing threat hunting on daily basis. So they are different from the one who are doing L1, L2, L3. There are specific team members who are looking for threats across the networks. Moving on to session number 9, we have an important area in blue team is malware analysis. So there are different engineers or who has an expertise in doing malware analysis. Malware analysis has two techniques. So one is static technique and another one is dynamic techniques. We will be covering both in different sessions. Static technique is looking at the file hashes, looking at the structure of the file, looking at the string inside a file to understand if it qualifies for a malware. In session number 10, where we do a dynamic malware analysis. In dynamic malware analysis, we execute the malware to check what has changed the network or to check what kind of behavior it occurred in a laptop or in an endpoint. Session number 11, incident response life cycle. So incident response life cycle has a detection, analysis, containment, eradication, and recovery. We need to understand each phase of it to understand and to respond to attacks in the meantime. Okay. Moving on to session number 12. Session number 12 will be speaking about digital forensics. Imagine that we have a dead body. Okay. Now we want to know if that dead body was killed by someone or was it suicided. Okay, we do a forensics on it, right? So same goes to the digital devices that we have. If there is something occurred on the device, we do a digital forensics onto that. And there are different measures that we take, there are different tools that we use, and there are different techniques that we choose to analyze the device or do or fulfill our digital forensic tasks. It also has specific team members who do digital forensics. For the initial level, level 1, level 2, they need to respond to attack, and level 3 is mostly, not in every organization, but mostly level 3 are responsible for forensics. So session 13 will be covering the digital forensics, but that digital forensics will be on the network and the lateral movement detection. It will be focused on the traffic inside the network, how the attackers can move from one system to another, and how to understand unusual connection, what is the protocol abuse, login failures, what is brute force, and what is lateral movement. Okay, so in session number 14, we'll be speaking about threat intelligence integrations, why we take such feeds and we try to insert it in our tools. Why do we connect them to the MITRE attack? Okay, why do we use up-to-date intelligence which help the professionals to detect the threats faster? Session number 15. So cloud is everywhere. There are very minimum companies that use on-prem. So everyone has moved from on-prem to cloud. We'll be speaking about cloud security monitoring. How do we monitor the alerts of cloud? Okay. What is identity access abuse? Okay. Also, we'll learn what are different environments of cloud, such as AWS, Azure, or GCP, Google Cloud Platform. We'll also see what kind of misconfigurations that can occur and that can result in compromise the whole network. In session number 16, we'll be talking about SOAR automation and SOC simulation. So nowadays, AI is very in. Everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. Everyone is talking about how AI can be used in different areas of information technology. And specifically in cybersecurity, they are speaking about what if we replace AI with L1 or L2. So that is a very long journey. It's not going to happen right now. And in each stage, human intelligence is very important. There are many research that has occurred where they have indulged AI into L1, and it was very bad because human intelligence still needed L1 resource to, yes, it has fulfilled that level 1 checks. Okay. SOAR is very important because now modern tools like SIEM and other tools are offering SOAR. Means that the task that we are doing repetitively has to be automated. So SOAR is very important, where we have playbooks. So playbooks is given to these tools is integrated into these tools. Let's say if we receive a login failure, okay, login failure from, let's say, from IP 10.10.10.10 to IP 10.10.10.12 is repeated around, let's say, 2 minutes within 50 times. So that creates an alert. Once that alert is created, automatically it creates a ticket, okay, in any of the tools like Manage Engine, like Jira. Then it creates a ticket, and then this ticket is assigned to, let's say, level 1. Level 1 has to analyze the logs, and then level 2 and level 3 has to complete the responsibility of that alert. This is very brief about what we'll be doing in the program. In the program, it's going to be more detailed. We'll be doing hands-on. Once you take the course, you will understand how the real world is working and what happens in the Security Operations Center. Thank you so much.